Hello.
Sorry, I had y'all muted. I was like, what's going on?
Okay, we are live. Let's see who is in the comments, and then I'll let my lovely co-hosts introduce themselves, and I will put the forest room up for the first sprint. So, Wendy, hello, good morning. Wendy recently found me on Twitch last night, and then I was like, I'm sprinting tomorrow morning too. So,
Cool.
Crow is here. Hello. Lainey Sky. Hi. Lainey's asking what we're working on today, so I guess we'll add that to your introductions, please. Wendy's editing a nonfiction book about decluttering. God, I could use more decluttering, although I feel like that's all I've been doing for the past month. Everyone's saying they should buy that book. Yeah. Wendy is working on a series, thanks to Chris Fox's YouTube. Makes sense. Crow is trying to figure out coffee or water.
I'm inclined to think water.
I was going to say water. Like, our body needs water. Whereas coffee, people then need it because they've already become addicted to it.
Depends on how many cups of coffee he's had.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mercurial says hello. Nice to see the chat is lively before the stream. Yes, I agree. Mercurial's going to be working on a random piece of writing. Cool. First laundry. Did a bunch of laundry yesterday. Lainey asked if we listen to music. We can talk about that after we do our intros. I'll come back to that. Crow has a week to finish a book because she asked her friend to give her a deadline. So we will help you with that, Crow. Yeah, Christina, good morning. And good morning, Regina. And I think that is everyone in the chat. Oh, Brianna, hello. And now I think that's everyone in the chat. So, Anya, why don't you go first?
Yeah, hello guys. I'm Anya. My channel name is AS Renner. Is also my writer name. I'm from Germany. I have published one novel that's only available in German so far. So it's called City of Lies. If you don't know German, I self-published it. Yeah, and on my channel you find writing streams mainly. And I will work on another novel. I'm currently in rewriting status, so I have a lot of cards filled, and yeah, we'll see what happens with that.
It's very exciting. So I'm Autumn Ashleigh, another author tuber in our community. I post writing vlogs as well as live streams as well. But today I'm going to be working on chapter 3 of draft 1 of my project called To Save the King. So very excited.
That's good.
Very cool. I'm Sako Tumi, also known as Cass Voigt. I write horror, and I'm a witch, and I'm a graphic designer, and sometimes I combine those three things. In fact, I'm kind of doing that today in that I am working on my Vela experiment. I found another community that pays more.
Okay.
So for thrillers and mystery and stuff like that. So I might try that.
Interesting.
Cool.
For those of you who don't know, my name is Vera Hoffman. I'm a self-published author of 5, soon to be 6, and many more books. You can get them as signed copies from my Ko-fi link, which is in the description down below, but they're also all available on ebook, on Kindle, Apple Books, and Nook, and et cetera, et cetera. That's also linked down below. These lovely people's channels are linked down below. They have also picked the trees that we will be planting for today's sprints, except the warm-up and the wind-down tree, which I picked. And with that said, I'm going to share the forest room for the first sprint. And the code is 3 Kilo Golf Tango Juliet 4 Quebec. Okay, so the question was, do we listen to music while we write?
I do.
Especially when I'm in my idea finding stage, I like to listen to music. Sometimes more in editing or something, I need silence. I cannot listen to music. So
And I think it just. Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, I'm done.
And I usually sometimes do, sometimes don't. It depends on the scene, and then if like I'm feeling like I need a little bit more inspiration, then. But it can't have like singing. Like it just has to be music.
Yeah. Which is why I like dark synth and synth wave and like cyber wave and stuff like that. So it's got the like dark mystery sort of thing going on, but there's no lyrics. There's no there's no vocals.
Yep. If there's singing involved, I can't.
Yeah.
I'm singing along.
I'll accidentally write the lyrics down. Like, in what I'm writing. Like even if I'm like, oh, I'm not listening, it's like it. Yeah.
I will transcribe the lyrics.
Yeah. I'm like, no.
I also like to listen to soundtrack music sometimes.
Yeah.
Like battle music or stuff like that.
For sure.
But Lainey is actually listening to Phantom of the Opera. So I love the music and the musical. For people who romanticize it, it is not a healthy relationship. Do not aspire for that relationship. But that's also something that like I couldn't listen to while writing, because I know the music so well that even if I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna like pay attention to it, my brain will pay attention to it. Because if I'm in like a store and they're playing music really faintly, like the moment I'm like, oh, I recognize the song, it becomes that much louder to me.
Yeah.
True.
So,
Me too.
In the dark instrumentals. Hello, Leah. Sorry you can't stay, but thank you for being here. Good morning, Violet. Crow is recommending Lindsay Sterling and Glitch X City. I love Lindsay Sterling. She's also covered things though with lyrics that I know. Like even though her version doesn't have the lyrics, and my brain adds in the lyrics, and I'm like, I run into the same problem.
Really, when it comes to covers like that, like, there's like a 4-string quartet that does Pink Floyd and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It just gets me in the mood to listen to the original band.
Yeah.
And I become more distracted with just breaking out the original band than I am with writing.
Well, it's like the Bridgerton soundtrack. They use Vitamin String Quartet for a lot of the stuff, which I love. But it's like the moment you're like, oh, this is Bad Guy. You're like, you're not thinking about the scene or that like the instrument is pretty, which it is. You're now thinking like, oh, like I should listen to Bad Guy, the actual one.
The actual one. Yeah.
That's true. So do you want me to tell something about my book? It's about an attorney that comes back home to her hometown, and she finds out something about her father. She thought he died as a hero, but actually he wasn't. And it's a thriller with mafia and stuff like that.
I want to read it, but
I want to read it. Sounds good.
I am working on translating the first chapter maybe to English, and then hoping to collect some money to get it translated because it's quite expensive. I should have written it in English.
Put it on your Ko-fi page.
Yeah.
Is that your goal?
It's true.
Okay, also I just noticed that Celine and Diana are here. I think those comments came in like right after I was like, oh, I said hi to everyone. So and good morning, Hannah and Jez. And we're gonna start our first sprint in 3, 2. Oh, just a second. Sorry. Where are you? There we go. In 3, 2, 1. Happy productivity, everyone. I'm not sure where the timer stopped at 35 seconds on screen, but that was the end of our first sprint.
Oh, okay.
How did everyone do?
Pretty good.
Yeah, I just wrote down some notes. Nothing special.
And I read a little bit through chapter 3 just to make sure I know where to pick up. And I ate breakfast, so I'm ready to go now.
Good.
Good.
I mostly did notes. So I found this questionnaire that's like 365 questions to ask your character, and I'm making stories based on these questions. And so I was answering some June questions.
Oh, that's cool. What kind of questions were they asking?
Let's see. It's stuff like what makes your character feel righteously angry? Does your character keep in touch with any childhood friends?
Oh, that's so cool.
Is your character ambitious?
Can you put that link in the private chat and I'll share it with everyone who's interested?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's really cool.
It's been really useful.
Yeah.
Interrogating your character. I like it.
I've been writing the notes in first person from her perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's what I do too.
That's cool.
so that I can get a really good feel for her mood and a really good feel for her diction.
Yeah, I like that. Are you going to do that for all of your characters, or?
Yeah, I think I am. It depends on whether or not I have like a book revolving around said character.
Yeah.
But like for side characters and stuff like that, no, probably no.
That would be a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah, for a side character.
for a side character, that'd be a lot.
I mean, I'm sure people have done it and will do it, but no.
That's a bit much.
Yeah.
For those who really like character generation.
Yeah.
Let's see. Helene came in, Gio came in, Regina had her second cup of coffee.
Very good.
Good to see other horror writers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Jez became a morning person during the pandemic and stopped drinking coffee.
Oh.
I don't know. I've gone through becoming more of a morning person, becoming more of a night out, and becoming more of a morning person. Like I just
kind of gone through the cycle.
But like I'm no longer constantly exhausted all the time, which I was before the pandemic. But I think like once everyone else was like that, my body was like, no, now we're gonna pick a time.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. That just because everybody else was going through it too, your body was like, no, you could do this too.
It's like, nah, you've had this for years. Let's try something new now.
Yeah, right?
Need more coffee. That's water and cutting it.
Yeah.
We tried to make you healthy.
We tried to make you happy.
That's okay, Regina. I mean, as you know, as someone who comes to all of my sprints, we have 5 total. So you'll get more trees even if you don't get all 5. Edited 1,018 words. Awesome.
Very good.
I don't count the words that I edit. I just say I count like scenes that I've edited or chapters because there are normally like 2 to 3 scenes in a chapter. And then in my editing process, I'll count how many new words I've actually written. But like if I deleted 20 words and I wrote 5, I'll say that I wrote 5 words.
Yeah.
In the editing process. And that's it. You know what I mean? Like I don't count that the whole chapter started as like maybe 1,000 words. And then once I'm done editing the chapter, I'm like, I edited 1,000 words. Because my brain is just like, no, you like, yes, but you mostly read. Like that doesn't do anything. That's just my brain though. I'm not discounting anyone's progress because editing takes time and a lot of work.
It does take time.
And a lot of focus.
Especially if you end up having to rewrite a scene.
Oh,
Yeah. I hate that.
I hate that so much.
I hate it
Just
when
to
my
get it
editor
to
was
flow
like,
better.
"You have to start this again." And I was like,
No.
Brainstorming chapter 5 and got unstuck. That is what matters. So
Nice.
awesome. 5 pages read for critique partner. Awesome. Summarize the chapter. For like an outline before you start writing the chapter, or to summarize what you wrote. Because what I used to do is I would outline, draft, inevitably go off outline. So then before I started editing, I'd have to read through what I wrote and summarize what I'd written instead of what I planned to write, and then look at the two and be like, do I want to revise it to fit what the original outline was, or am I gonna fix the original outline to reflect what was written and stuff like that? I'm a little bit more streamlined now, but yeah.
Holy cow.
Didn't write anything, but okay.
has to be done.
Edited a chapter.
Got more coffee.
Hi, Bree.
Hi, Bree.
Thank you for dropping in. Gio's gonna try those questions. Should try my book, especially concerning it's a murder mystery. And I still have to figure. Yeah, there's So I don't know how many people in the chat or on screen have watched the show NCIS, but there is a character who's on the team who, you know, is one of the investigators, and he's also a writer, and he writes this like best-selling mystery thriller novel under a pen name, and then his coworkers find out on a Reddit because he wrote about them without asking. But then when he's trying to write the second one, he has writer's block and like refuses to say that. But then because other people are like, "You have writer's block," he's like, "I don't have writer's block," but then almost says that he has writer's block. And then it comes out that they have to read his manuscript for a case or something, and they're like, and he's like, "Oh, so what do you think? Like, what clues are in it?" And they're like, well, we're just confused." He's like, "This isn't a critique. Confused about what?" And they're like, "Everything." And he's like, "Well, it's not done. I don't know who the killer is yet." And everyone's like, "Well, you need to know who the killer is before you start writing." I had a point, I promise.
Yeah.
Good morning, Raph. Thank you. Raph has seen me write, I think, like 3 books in the course of being a follower of like my YouTube and Twitch. So that's why I'm called a machine. Hello, Spence. Hey, Vanessa. I almost added an H in your last name, which I'm like, nope, there's no H. So hello. Finished a long short story collection, 2 books during the pandemic, running out of characters and character names. If you Google name generators, there are a bunch. And then also, if you have Scrivener, if you go into edit, writing tools, name generator.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a name generator.
But there's also
No kidding.
Yeah, but there's also fantasy name generators, and some like aren't as fantasy as others in my mind. So you could, you know, run it and maybe get a more contemporary sounding name, or just get lucky. But the Scrivener one is all contemporary names, but you can.
Yeah, if you're writing like a fantasy or something like that, it might be better to just
or at least
make up the name.
Yeah, I like that.
Got breakfast. Taking Chris Fox's writing course. OMG, count the editing words. I paraphrase badly. Got it. Yeah. Well, it's hard. So got too few words. That's okay. That's fine. A lot of people use the first sprint to wake up, or try to. I'm not even saying everyone succeeds at waking up during the first sprint. Names are hard. Half my characters in my current work are done. I don't know.
I feel you. I'm the same.
Yeah.
I'm weird though. I'm like, I can't really write a character unless they're named. So like they come, like if they don't have
give
a
them
name
some
already,
name.
that's one of the first things I do.
Oh, I will usually have the role before I'll have the name.
Mm.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'll be like, the heavy says this. And then I'll have to go through and find every case of heavy or spec ops and change it to the actual name.
Okay.
Just
cool.
so I can move forward in the story.
Yeah. I mean, there are some people who do that, and yeah, my brain is just like, no, they're not real if you don't have a name for them.
Yeah, in my private novel, I have a Captain XYZ. Still, because I haven't figured out the name yet.
Okay, so my instinct was right, but I know not everyone does that, so that's why I was asking.
Mm-hmm.
Popping back in, sister went outside, now I'm making love. Ooh, cool.
Ooh. Yay,
No bread
lemon
this
cookies.
morning, but maybe later today. Depending on how energetic I feel after going to sleep late again for the second night in a row, I might do pop-up sprints on Twitch tonight. Maybe. No promises, but maybe. Hello, Stig.
Hi, Stig.
Wake up or try to. Yeah. I don't make assumptions about the success of people during their sleep. Don't find names that hard either. I love finding names for it. Sometimes it requires a few tries to nail, but it's always fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Agonize over naming children. I mean, okay, if I was having real kids, I would agonize over naming them. But like characters come to me, important characters come to me named. And then if they're like an important side character that like isn't important enough to just come with the name, I normally like do a few searches and I'm like,
yeah, my main character is always named.
I also like to look around at the books I have here and then put names together. Just from the authors of those books, if I really need a name fast.
Yeah.
That's a cool trick.
Yeah.
I've gone to cemeteries and like written down names, but I don't like go to cemeteries to write down names. But my cousins live in Sleepy Hollow, so one time we went during the day to Sleepy Hollow Cemetery, and I wrote down names. And then we had also gone for like a Halloween tour.
Oh.
And it was like, I think it like started at 11, but it ended at like 1 or 2 a.m. or something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it was just like a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad.
Gio, I'm that weird person that has the comments just jumped okay. I'm the weird person that has the characters before the plot, so I can't stand not having names and physical appearances. I normally get main character with name and role, and like their gender, and that's about it. Is in situation, and then I start writing, and then when I'm like, oh, like there needs to be a physical description, I'm like, hair color, does this matter, or can I just randomly go with my gut?
Right. So,
yeah,
I need a visage. I'm an illustrator, so I usually like will draw them, or I'll go on Art Breeder, and I'll make the character. If you guys are familiar with Art Breeder at all.
No.
Nope.
I think I've heard you mention it.
It's really great for coming up with character, like people who don't exist.
I'm going to share the link in the chat.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So
I have aphantasia though. So to me, it's like descriptions don't come in until I'm like, oh, I actually have to think about it.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know what aphantasia is, it means you don't visually imagine things. I have a pretty good recall memory of like things that have happened for things I care about. So like I have musicals like on demand in my head, but like, you know, what I ate and how long ago isn't necessarily saved. But I can't like just visually imagine stuff. It's very weird. It's like I'm in my character's head, but I'm not necessarily seeing through their eyes that I'm transcribing it. It's more like I'm in my character's head and they're experiencing stuff. So how do I write down what they're experiencing? Because I know what it is, but I can't see what it is.
I'm curious. Yeah. This topic has come up before where there are two kinds of people who can visualize and people who can't.
Yeah.
And I'm one of those people who visualize.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the reasons why I underwrite sometimes, because like I see everything and sometimes I omit details unless I've like warmed up my hands and stuff like that, and then I can get everything down.
I think that's really cool. I'm an underwriter because I don't have stuff to like. I can't just describe it like.
And yet you have like 6 books.
But yeah, I feel like going into AuthorTube and stuff, everyone's like, oh, like I'm even if they're an underwriter, they're like, oh, I see it, and I just write it down, and I'm like, I'm not. And then someone mentioned that they had a friend who also like couldn't imagine stuff, and I was like, there has to be a word for this thing, right? And I looked it up, and I was like, now there is. Now I know what there is. Love the idea of going to cemeteries. Yeah, it's fun. I think I had mentioned it either I think you and Bree and Maddie and Helene were on a stream, and I mentioned it, and like 3 of them were like, oh yeah, I've done it too. And was it you or was it Helene who was like, oh my God, that's so creepy?
It was probably both Helene and I. I'm like, that like weirds me out. I couldn't do it, but I think it's a great idea. I can't, it freaks me out. I know Bree was all in.
And I think Maddie was like, oh yeah, I live in Virginia, so there are cemeteries everywhere. So
Yeah, there are cemeteries everywhere.
Okay, Brianna says, I knew an author who went to her reader group and asked for names, and she got a lot for characters from picking random names from people. That's cool. We're going to start the next sprint soon. I promise, everyone. Chandra, good morning. Crow, I guess I'll do pop-up Twitch sprints tonight then. And I think that's all the comments. I just want to leave the code up a little bit longer in case more people want to do it, because I had comments up on screen for a long period of time. Regina says, that's right, Sako. I see, same here. I see everything, while Zara and other imagers are extremely organized, and they are a minority. Yeah, 10% of people are non-imagers.
Oh.
Charlie is here. Hello. Jez is obsessed with cemeteries. Her husband took her to an abandoned one for her birthday last year. If you've heard of Starvation Heights, a lot of the victims of that situation are buried there. I have never heard of that, and it sounds sad, but I will look it up later. Is there anything else? Never thought to grab names. Okay, yeah. I just think there are a lot of shows that at some crime shows I've watched at some point or other where like someone commits a crime by like looking at the obituaries and like just picking names from there for different reasons. But I'm like, you know, if I actually read a physical newspaper, maybe I'd do that. But you know, when I'm in a cemetery and I'm like, oh, look at all these names. Light bulb, like just write something down. Just Eva, hello. We'll have to dive into that rabbit hole later. Yes, 100%. And we're going to start our first 20-minute sprint in 3, 2, 1. Happy productivity, everyone. How did everyone do?
I did good. Mainly some copy and pasting from scenes and stuff. So yeah, but it's progress.
Yeah, that's awesome. I continued working on chapter 3 and I got 258 words.
Cool.
Wow, that's good.
I did a fat lot of nothing.
That's good too.
I did
It
some
happens.
revision
Nice.
and bullet journal setup for, the next few days.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
I love
Maybe
it.
that's what I should be doing. It is Sunday.
I was also looking at the PDF with the 365 questions, quite really good.
Yeah.
And I remember that usually I ask my characters one question, that what's the worst thing that could happen to you? It really helped me a lot with.
What's the worst thing that could happen to you? Oh, look!
Yeah, and I try to bring this into the story somehow. I try to make this happen.
No, really, like that. There is something to that. Like, whenever I get stuck in a story, I'm like, okay, what is the worst possible thing that could go wrong
Yep.
right now?
Really help. Yeah.
And I just run them through the ringer.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're so mean.
No, I mean, like, the thing is, though, is I feel like if I ask my characters, I feel like I'm not telling you.
Yeah, please don't do that.
Yeah.
You ask them what they would like to happen, and then you're like, oh, we're going to do the opposite then.
Yeah.
We're going to do the opposite then.
What's your biggest dream come true? Okay, thank you. Takes notes on how to, like, destroy said dreams.
Gives said dream and then takes it away.
Yes.
If you would like to support Anya and help her fund an English translation of her book, which I would love to bring you,
Yes.
link in the scrolling banner. I think I was smart enough and also put it in the description of the video, but if not, I wasn't. I will fix that after the stream ends.
Thank you.
So yes. Also, don't forget to hydrate, stretch, save your work. Normally, I have Moon Bunny Creative's banner for that, but because I forgot to put this up on screen during the last sprint, I had to switch things around. Okay, lots and lots of comments, and StreamYard is just not cooperating with me today. Okay. Okay, Stig once got a name because sorry, Stig, I just realized I don't know your pronouns. Stig's cab driver got a call, and the name on the car ID was really cool. Hashtag everything is inspo. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Eva says, there's a website with images of cemetery markers and sometimes with obituaries as well as connection to parents, children, siblings, and spouses. Findagrave.com. Interesting.
Oh.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah, I do DoorDash, and I live in a really diverse town. So some of the names of the dashers that are coming my way are like, I'm like, this is a really good name.
Yes.
Your name is awesome.
Jez is saying needs to be more aware of stuff in surroundings, but normally just kind of floats around and is blaming the Pisces moon. I mean, I can't argue with it necessarily. I mean, I'm a Pisces sun though, so it's not exactly the same. But I'm attentive when I want to be. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
Oh my god, the comments just aren't. I'm trying to scroll and then it freezes. I don't know what is up. Okay, Crow cut 2K from the book because it made the pacing weird. Ouch. I mean, better save the pacing though. Now realizing an entire chapter doesn't really need to be here, and then Sako said, "Hooray, developmental editing!" That happened with me in the second book of the series. I had written a bunch of stuff, and then I was like, "Oh, I have a new idea for a scene at the end of a chapter," which then made the following chapter make no sense because then a character was in two places at once, and I totally missed it when I like sent it to my alpha readers and like and I was like, "Oh, right," and then I was like, "Do I rewrite the chapter or do I just like scrap that and like do something else?" Because the changing it was more of a headache, so I
Right.
Miguel and Moon Bunny came in, although Moon Bunny said they ran through. So I don't know if Sage is
They're
still
probably not still here.
Yeah. Claude, hello. Charlie drafted 3 pitches. Cool.
Nice.
Sage ate too much potato salad and now wants a nap. That was a message from 5 minutes ago, so might be napping at this
It
point.
might be napping now.
Geo did character work. Decided is gonna pants the novel. Whoever the murderer is will be a surprise to him too.
I know a lot of horror writers that write that way, and
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
good.
understand how.
But you can really get
How do you
rich
foreshadow?
if they
But maybe they do a discovery draft or a zero draft or however Kate calls it, because she calls it multiple things depending on the video. And then she's like going back in and revising for foreshadowing and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's that.
But I agree. Like to me, I'm like I always know the end of my books.
I always know the end
things
before I start.
It's like I always know the inciting incident, and that's normally where I start my book. I normally don't even do a lead up until this is normal, and here's the inciting incident. I'm normally like media res inciting incident, and we're off to the races.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't like the fluff in the beginning. Just dive in. Let's just go for it.
It's like because I also normally at some point have my character be like, "Wow, my life went to shit very fast," and like kind of miss the like monotony of when it was normal, and I'll do like a few references there, but it's like I don't want to see the monotony of when it was normal because that's not interesting to me as a reader. But like if you can reference it,
exactly. That's what like flashbacks and when they reminisce about the good old days, you can sprinkle that throughout.
Violet did nothing but eat breakfast and stare at the clock. So she's gonna call it a day for the writing. But thank you for being here. Jake did 50 words, trying to wrap up the villain's first introduction, but it's proving harder than I thought. She won't stop talking. When I'm trying to think, are my villains super talky? You know, like because obviously in movies they like reveal.
Are they super talky?
And you're just like. You know, that gives the hero enough time to get out of whatever predicament they're in. But I don't feel like my villains are that talky. I mean, they talk, don't get me wrong, but it's like they're also normally torturing someone as they're doing it. So it's not like they're not like pacing around being like, oh, and here's my plan, and like ineffective because they're too busy, you know, expounding on their own evil genius. 213 words for Mercurial. Writing on paper quite distracted today. That's okay. Regina spent 20 minutes snuggling the miniature pincher. She made cuddles this morning. Precious little doggy. Yeah, dogs are precious. Sorelli, I think that might not be the correct pronunciation. If it's not, I apologize, and please let me know somehow through the comments how to say your name. Did 230 words. Awesome.
Nice.
Comments keep jumping. Okay, Gio said love torturing my characters, literally his favorite thing. Raph finished another episode for Kindle Vella.
Cool.
And Jez, I've brainstormed the second half of chapter 5. Awesome.
Nice.
And why is this take? I've never had so many problems with StreamYard as I have like the last few times I've streamed with it, and I don't know what's up. Okay.
Yeah,
Regina
why is now
removed,
any different? Yeah.
Regina removed 5K from the vampire sequel.
Whack.
Press pain.
Oof.
Stig uses he, him. Melissa, good morning.
Good morning.
All my chapters are like normally 1K to 3K. So even if I had to scrap a full chapter, I would never like have to outright just delete 5K. But like across a whole novel of like, you know, filler and
Maybe total. Yeah.
AE is debating with himself about where to go with the story setup. Very vague, so I can't offer any comments other than I know you'll figure it out eventually, but if you'd like more feedback than that, we need more detail.
Yeah.
Chandra did chores. Jez is saying chores, what are those? And Wendy edited 12:32.
Wow.
We're going to start our next sprint soon once my partner stops acting weird. And hide the code. I don't know why that comment is back up on screen since I did not click that last. Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't clicking.
I don't know what's going on. Okay, we're going to set up the pictures properly this time. So, Autumn doesn't have a Ko-fi page, but she has an Instagram.
That is so sweet. Thank you.
And we're going to start in 3, 2, 1. Happy productivity, everyone. the timer wasn't cooperating, so I put it in the banner and then I overshot it by a minute. I apologize.
It's all good.
Oops.
Yeah, everything's fine.
Don't you love technology?
Especially when it works swimmingly.
It is not loving me back. It's like, I think it was finally like, oh, you can now afford, thanks to your Ko-fi page, to get a new laptop. Time to stop working. I'm like, no. Like, I'm saving that money so I can buy a new laptop when it goes on sale for graduation. Set the fortune code.
Okay. I got a bit distracted by my family. They were leaving to go to my sister's, drinking coffee and stuff. But
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Oh, that's fun.
And I was also thinking about maybe you can help me not make a decision, but I'm thinking whether I should write my next novel in English or in German, or maybe even both at the same time, because sometimes when I write blog posts, I usually try to write them in English and in German, and it helps me when I translate it back and forth, to get a better writing style with each translation.
I vote for that if it doesn't drive you crazy.
I vote for being able to, if you write like a chapter in German and then rewrite the chapter in English sort of situation.
Yeah, something like
I would
that.
think that would be easiest.
Yes.
Because I feel like only English is too hard for me because I'm not a native speaker. And I mean, of course, I will have an editor in the end anyways, but still, yeah. So I'm still thinking about this.
Yeah. I think that'd be a good idea. And plus, doing like one chapter, maybe chapter by chapter, it might help maybe make it a little bit easier as the story goes on. So then maybe if you go back and read through it, a couple of times before you send it to your editor, maybe you'll be able to clean it up maybe a little bit more.
That's what I'm hoping too.
Yeah. But I think that's a good idea.
I think you should like make a video about it for your channel, and I think that'd be really cool and unique, and I'd love to watch it.
I think that's a great idea.
Totally.
Yeah, I will think about it.
Yeah. So in that sprint, I refilled my water, and then I wrote 103 words, but I wasn't sure because like I'm at a point where I kind of want to do a little bit of like kind of explain like who this character is, but I don't want to info dump. I know it's only draft one, but still I pull back on the reins. So I did just a little bit, and I think that's all I'm going to do for now, and then we're going to move on.
That is good.
Yeah. I love writing flashbacks, and I know I'm going to get really into it, and then it's going to be too much, and then it's going to be an info dump.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I feel like I don't write that many flashbacks, but when I do, I keep it. Like if it's gonna be a flashback at all, I make sure it's as long, if not shorter, than like a normal present day scene.
Yeah.
So that like it can't overtake wherever.
Yeah. And I feel like it's a good point too, because she mentioned something about like the reason she is here in the castle to do a duty, but like I haven't explained what it is. And I feel like in chapter 3 is kind of a good part to at least like, get your feet wet just a little bit and understanding where she came from and why she's here. And then I can capitalize on it and expand like later on so we have a better understanding of
What that job means.
Right, exactly. But then you don't just find out all at once in like 6 paragraphs and it's like, whoa.
Those are your notes. That's not how you deliver the information to you.
Yes. Just like drop it to them. Incoming.
I'm reading comments about people with names, like don't have similar names in a book. Most people are okay with names that okay, so no names that sound similar. Some people are okay with multiple characters having names that start with the same letter, like A.E. said Dean and Dimitri in the same book are okay for them.
Yeah.
And then, and this all started because Crow was asking you whether or not, as an author, you avoid giving characters names the same letter as your name.
Mhm.
And I have a character named Zelda, and so that's obviously a Z. And then normally I try and avoid names with the same letter at all, except in my new adult sci-fi romance trilogy. I have 2 sets of siblings, and one set they're fraternal, and they're not even twins. So they both have an A name, and actually they both have an AR in the start of their name, but it doesn't really sound similar. And then I have twins, and their names are Mackin and Maxic, and they're aliens. So I was like, I just went. I came up with one, and I was like, oh, the other. It's What about you all? What names?
My family usually goes back into the family. One child is named after the mother's side of the family, and one child is named after the father's side of the family.
It just alternates, or
Mhm. There were only 2 kids, so.
oh, okay.
I had to change one name. Sorry.
No, go for it.
They once Jenny. I had Jenny as a character, and I had Giuliano. I mean, it was written with a G, but it sounded the same. And I think I must have had someone else with G. So my editor said, you should change this. so
Yeah.
I don't really remember which names were the others, but you also have to look like the sound, what the name sounds like. Can also be
That's a really
sound.
good point.
Yeah.
I try not to have similar names, kind of like the Anna and the Bella, because I would get confused. So I know that someone else would get confused. So I do try to keep them pretty separate.
Yeah.
But
all
because
the twins that I know have been entirely separate people.
Yes.
Like their names are not similar in any way.
Yes. And that makes me so happy because I'm like, all right, I'm good. I know who is who.
I know who is who. Yeah.
Yep. And then like since I write fantasy, I kind of like the characters to have like a meaning behind the name. And I try to keep them all maybe like similar origin with where they're from. So I like to do that too.
That's cool.
Miguel finished a chapter of 6 of Crows. I have it. I haven't started reading it yet. I still need to finish reading Shadow and Bone. I watched the show first because I was like, I didn't read the books in advance enough to watch the show. And I was like, if I really want to watch the show, and if I haven't read the books, I can watch the show without nitpicking about all the differences.
Yeah.
So I'm like, normally I want to read the book first, but there are certain times where I'm just like, I'm going to do both. Might as well be able to enjoy the film adaptation while I can.
My husband, of all people, showed interest in that show.
Okay.
Which,
I haven't seen it yet.
I don't know enough about your husband for that to like, is he not into fantasy? Is he not into young adult?
He's not into young adult, for one. He's, it depends on the fantasy. And he's more of like a Marvel superheroes kind of guy, you know? So
comic-y sci-fi fantasy crossover, which
yeah.
I mean, it is young adult. It's a very obviously young adult when you compare it to like The Witcher and Game of Thrones or whatever, but it doesn't feel as young adult as like even like the Hunger Games. If that makes like the Hunger Games, like the world was really not kid friendly. Obviously, 23 die every single year, but it just, I don't know. Like she's going through stuff, but it feels like stuff that you could go through at any age because it's not. She turned a certain age, so she has to go through this life changing experience. It's something happens, and she goes through a life changing experience.
Yeah.
it's not like, obviously with Katniss, she just that year she just happened to be reaped, but like at a certain age you start putting your name in, and then Divergent, your name is like the ceremony is at a certain age, as is the Giver, although they aged that up for the movie, which so much just so they could add a romance plot. But it's like, and she's okay. I just feel like it's a better world than a lot of young adult adaptations, because it's not we're young adults and that's the whole point. It's we're characters who live in this world, and we might be younger than any of the characters in Lord of the Rings, but we're not like,
I appreciate
it's not
that.
happening to us because we're young.
And that's something that has kind of kept me away from young adult, and so it's I look for story.
Yeah.
And if the story revolves around coming of age stuff, like I went through that already. I don't need to relive that.
I mean, I'm okay with rereadings. I'm okay with reading stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, it's not that like I'm not okay with young adult stuff anymore, but I think that like I really love Shadow and Bone as a thing, because I feel like with Harry Potter, creator aside, Harry Potter, Hunger Games, at least in my family, and like Golden Compass, like in my family, people fell in love with it when they were kids, and then because things just kept coming out related to the franchise, they still loved it as adults with like different perspectives and stuff. But like this is, I feel like an adult could read it if someone was like, no, this is just a good story. Like it's not about like the story is what's happening and the age is secondary.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Oh, I mean, there's one character where age is very important, but it's like a hidden fact, and then you're like, oh, okay then.
Oh, okay.
But in general, it's not like, oh, you turned 16, so like your life is gonna change and you could probably die. But we need you to save the world.
Right. I just feel like it's very overused. And so it's not really like maybe like a unique thing that happens anymore, where it's just like, oh, now you're 18, so now you can do this. And it's like, but in the real world, like, like we always experience that with like things in the real world. So like, give us something different.
Yeah, like I kind of played with that here, but like, because that was just how the story came to me. But for everything else, it's like, life happens. And this one is like, she did not ask to be kidnapped by aliens in the middle of the night.
He didn't turn 16 and like, oh, alien abduction.
Yeah. They only abduct 16-year-olds.
Yeah. That was an awesome topic, you guys. I was totally digging that.
I can't see the name of the okay, Jez asked if anyone is reading something that they're excited about, because Jez is in a reading slump.
I just got an Introvert's Retreat box, and it comes with a book, so I'm kind of excited to read the book that came with it, which is Free Fall by Jessica Barry.
Cool cover.
Right? It's supposed to be a thriller. They say your daughter is dead, you know they're wrong. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that.
Anyone else?
Yes. I just grabbed all three of the books that were on my bed. So I actually just finished reading this one.
Okay.
And it's really good. It's like hard to explain, but it's basically this girl who grows up in high society in England, I think in the Victorian-ish era, I believe, where, women are kind of secondary. And, but she's
you gotta be more specific than that.
Where we're supposed to wear pretty dresses and we do what we're told and we don't have a voice. Well, come to find out,
you have to be more specific.
You can read the book if you want more specific. But that's pretty much what it is. But Her family are part of like these, they're called receivers, where they can see like the demons and devils and things like that that suck like the human soul, and that's how they are able to like create chaos in the world. But she's like a grand receiver where she can take over and help these other receivers, but there's like a rare, the people that are doing the deceiving are called deceivers. It's kind of hard to explain because it's like in the background, but the people who are part of this group, there's one that's like really, really like, yeah, like we've got high hopes for her. But then there are some other people, it's like, she's a woman. Are we sure we can trust her with leading our group? But it's beautifully written. I recommend this because this is book 2. And this is on my TBR for the next quarter. So I recommend it. It's beautifully written and it's told in third person, but it follows her, and her name is Lady Helen. And then I'm reading this one right now.
To Kill a Kingdom has been on my list, and I really need to get to it.
Yes.
I haven't read it too. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So those are my 3 books that I recommend. I haven't read the second book, but there's 3 books in the Dark Days trilogy. I recommend it. It's awesome. I loved it. My friend actually recommended that to me.
Okay, I have it pulled up on Goodreads, so I'm definitely gonna read it.
Please do, and let me know how you like it, because it's great. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, I could also recommend a book if you like Gothic novels. I read Mexican Gothic. I don't know if you know it. Unfortunately, I gave it to my sister. That's why I haven't it here. But it's from Silvia Moreno Garcia, and it's really good. It's like really about a woman who has to look after her. I think it's her, what's it called, her cousin, and she wrote a very mysterious letter, and then she has to go to this house where her cousin is living with her new husband. And yeah, like I said, a really Gothic setting in Mexico. It's really well written, and I really enjoyed this one. It has a very beautiful cover, so look it up.
I haven't read it yet, but in my publishing program, we have studied it so many times for its marketing and how successfully it launched, like at the start in the middle of the pandemic, and just like what they do, and what can booksellers and advertisers and everyone going forward take from it. And then it's just very cool. But I have yet to read the book. I want to. It's on my list. But yeah.
Chandra Arthur apparently has been reading my book, which is super awesome. And
Yeah.
Regina was asking about it, so that's super cool.
Yeah, I haven't. I did just read something. What did I just? I just read a historical romance because, like, I don't really like Goodreads' UI. I don't know anyone who does. And I had switched over to Book Hype, which is a much smaller outfit, but it's really cool. And they were recommending books based on ones that I'd read. And I guess because I had said I'd read multiple historical romances, they're like, "Oh, here are some that you might like." And I'd been staying away from the genre for a while just because of my mental health. Because inevitably, every single woman in one of those books has had a traumatic past. That's a little bit too triggering for me normally. And this wasn't an exception, but I was just like, whatever. It was a very short book. And so I read that. And then obviously Shadow and Bone because of the show. And Scarlett St. Clair writes a Hades and Persephone retelling. And the newest book just came out. So I was like, okay, because I'd been waiting and putting them off, and I was like, you know what, screw it. And I just bought all the ebooks, and I'm gonna probably next week read. Yeah. And I think she's done 3 books from I don't know if it's from both of their I think it's from from Persephone's perspective, or maybe it's omniscient or whatever. But then she has a companion series that is just from Hades' perspective. Mm-hmm. And so she recently posted on her Instagram, this is how you read the series, if you wanted them to line up. like how to read them in
Oh.
tandem. And I'm like, I didn't know that was an option, but since I haven't started reading it, that's how I'm going to read it. So
Yeah,
we'll see how that
that's
goes.
cool.
That
But
is
it's like that is not young adult. That is like a adult sexy times to make it very clear. Everyone's talking about Mexican Gothic, book hype. Yeah. Okay, we're going to start. Nope, that is the wrong device for the current sprint. Okay. I don't know if I should try with the timers again or not. StreamYard just keeps saying your internet's unreliable. No, it's not. It's the exact
It's
same as
been-
always.
It's been coming and going.
Yeah. Okay. Second class, if we start now. Okay, we're going over the 2-hour mark. Sorry, everyone. This normally happens. When I have guests, it's normally like 2.5 hours. Can I do math this early in the morning?
yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
Okay. Just finishing. And the moment I saved it and the time changed. Okay. There we go. And my thing is freezing. Okay. In 3, 2, 1. that's the end of the sprint. How did everyone do?
I'm here. I swear.
Am I still muted? Yeah, no, I'm unmuted. So I just said I added some more scenes to my list that I will write, and I also cut them down into several parts. Sometimes this helps me not to get overwhelmed when a scene is quite complex. So I did this.
Yeah, that's awesome. I got 327
Cool.
for that sprint.
Cool.
I mostly took care of myself.
Very good. I also made a copy for myself. So
Yay.
Oh, nice.
I just did some more revision. I'm trying to figure out whether or not to end the chapter at this point, because I basically edited the chapter and then I doubled it in length because it was way too short and I had more stuff to add, but now I'm like, okay, keep going.
Where's the proper spot to end it? Yeah.
Because like not every other chapter, most of the other chapters are like of an okay length, and the edits are like, okay, this just needs more describing because, it's not like, oh, this ended too soon, and it's like, okay, but what do I do about that?
Yeah.
Okay, there are lots of stuff in the chat that I missed, I guess. I don't know if we're gonna have to go through that. Nia came in. We have a 10-minute sprint left, and then we're gonna be done. But I am gonna be doing Twitch sprints tonight, apparently. Because Crows requested it after I said it was a possibility. Raph is asking if we are writing in Kindle Vella. Sako mentioned earlier that there is an alternative that you're going to do better for the genres that you write, and then you sent me that link, and I'm going to look into that. I might do Kindle Vella, but the story that I was planning is also kind of maybe better for the Scream platform that Sako mentioned.
So, the more I look at what I've been writing, because I've been writing with the idea of putting it on Vella.
Yeah.
Which means the first 3 episodes are supposed to be free, have 17 in the barrel.
Yeah.
All of that. And they're basically just a collection of short stories.
Yeah.
As opposed to a full novel. So I'll write a full novel for the release on Scream, but I think I'm gonna keep my short stories to Vella.
I think it's the pricing model, and I've always been told that my writing is kind of serialized on its own, where one chapter just propels you to another, but it doesn't. There are obviously parts of a bigger whole, but it doesn't feel. I don't know how I'm describing this. I'm not describing it well, but the point is that people who've read my books are like, oh, you'd be really good for Kindle Vella, but I write my books chapter by chapter, but then I edit them all at once, and so I suppose I could do that and just sit on it and then put it on Vella, because the payment plan is really cool, but there are just certain books where I'm like, I don't want it to be on Vella, but at the same time, there's no rule that you can't have something on Vella, finish it, unpublish it, and then publish it as an ebook. So there isn't really
they can't exist in both places. You
can have it on KDP, take it down, and put it on Vella, but you could do Vella first, take it down, and then put it on KDP, as long as they don't exist at the same time.
Right.
So, I mean, maybe for more than just the thriller book, I'll put it on Vella than I was thinking, but there's the one that I'm editing now, which is the 3rd book, and that's just going to come out as normal. It's already up for pre-order. It's coming out July 6th. And so I gotta work hard every day on that. And then there's other stories, so I might reestablish it. I did. I read everything very carefully, Crow, when I before I was part of Keelan's All About Kindle Vella live stream. That was I met at time. It was at least 2 weeks ago. It might have been a month ago at this point. I honestly don't remember. But like they might have changed their terms, and I'm sure they're going to make the payment plan not as good for authors in the future at some point.
Yeah, they're
Like,
going to
right
nerf it
now-
at some point. Yeah.
Yeah, but right now it's really good.
Yeah.
And they were just saying that, you unpublished from Vella, which is what I was gonna, which is what I'm saying. They wouldn't exist at the same place, but you can put something on KDP that's been on Vella, but not on Vella that's been on KDP before in that order.
Right.
Thank you, Crow.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
Yeah, speaking of going up against a giant and like losing, someone at my stream last night was talking about how they named a character, a very, very minor character, a real person for real reasons. And I was just like, that is a libel suit waiting to happen. Please, for your sake,
Please.
And they were like, no, I'm not gonna. And I'm like, well, I said my piece. Like I told you that, like, about all the nightmares that I read during my legal publishing media class about libel and stuff like that, and just.
I know all the things that can go terribly, terribly wrong.
Yeah, and I was like, I told you the warning signs, and you're not listening, and if you get sued, it's not that no one warned you.
Yep.
Okay, we're going to start our final 10-minute sprint. And thank you for everyone who is here for the long haul, because the timers were not working. Okay. Get rid of that. In 3. Nope, gotta put that up. Sorry, everyone. Okay. 3, 2, 1. I decide to end the chapter.
Cool.
Okay. So, how did everyone do?
Yeah, I put some more notes. And yeah, I'm quite happy with my progress so far.
Good. I did really well too. I liked the words I was writing, but I got 221 words for chapter 3.
Good. So you got a lot of words today, I think.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I counted right in my head.
I mostly took care of myself yet again. So,
Good.
yeah.
I mean, that's important and productive, and
I was in an accident on Wednesday night.
Oh no.
oh my god! And
I
you're
was hit.
here?
I was hit by a drunk driver.
Oh my god.
Oh my god!
And I basically slept from like Wednesday night, Thursday morning on up until like this morning, just to sleep off the shock.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I think I have a little bit of like sideways whiplash.
Oh
So
my
I'm
God.
missing my right rear view mirror.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm doing a lot of like taking it easy today.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Oh my god! If you needed to like, not be here, you could have told me. You never.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's okay. If I didn't feel up to it, I would have let you know.
Okay, please. Future, if you are in the chat and have been on my channel before, and you know that I would love to have you on again, and something happens, you can message me and be like, "I have to pull out."
I have to pull out. Yeah. Yeah, I get it. But I was ready for today.
I'm so in shock, and
Yeah.
oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Sorry, it'll go away at some point.
I had to sleep mine off for like 4 days.
Yeah. Yeah, I think maybe you need just going back to normal and distraction. Maybe this is what helps you now, Sako.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Now that I'm conscious. Now that
Right.
I can.
Minor detail.
Yeah.
On a happier note, Crow is asking about whether or not make toast with Nutella actually something, or just tackle the Nutella with the spoon. The last option is what I do, but not with the spoon because they have these little packs where it's like
packs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where there is the Nutella, and then basically Pocky, but like not you just stick it in the mini breadsticks and you just so not a spoon, but essentially that's what it is.
Oh, thank you, Crow.
Yeah, everyone is just thankful you're okay because
oh my god,
goodness gracious, I had no idea. But I hope you continue to get better.
I hope I do too. And I hope I get better from here and it doesn't get worse and then better.
Yeah.
The last time I was in an accident about 2 years ago, I had broken my elbow.
Oh.
But apparently I'd injured my neck too. I just didn't notice.
Oh, no.
Until I went to a chiropractor, and the chiropractor looked at my neck and was like, "You are hurt. You are really hurt. How are you upright right now?" And I was like, "What?" You should lawyer up. And I was like, "Oh, okay."
Wow.
Maybe you gotta, I don't know, do some witch stuff to
I know,
get
right?
better protection because
Maybe I
You're
should.
like, the last time I was in an accident, I'm like, it's not a sentence that someone should be saying.
No, it's not a sentence someone should be saying. And neither of them have been my fault. Like,
Mhm.
I've just been in the wrong place at the wrong time, I guess.
Yeah.
If you would like to support Sako
I,
for probably some medical bill that's going to be coming up at some point, link there. I will be updating the description of the stream to include Anya's Ko-fi link and Autumn's Instagram link as well. I thought I'd given everyone 2 links in the description, and I had not, so my bad. But yeah. What did Crow just say? Don't know how it works in the US, but I feel like if we could sue for something here, then you would have grounds for it there. Crow is in Canada, by the way. For having a little.
in the U.S., my insurance company would basically sue their company, and if it's the same company, they'll just come up with a settlement. So I walked away with like $18,000. So I published a book with it.
Yeah.
And now that makes me money.
Yeah.
Okay. On that very shocking and unexpected
I know.
note,
No, you're fine.
I think we're gonna say goodbye. If
so.
you did not already follow these lovely people on their YouTube channels, please do. They're linked down below. And don't forget to like and subscribe, please.
Yes.
I haven't posted a video on here in a while. I've mostly just been doing streaming because grad school and trying to finish this book in 3 months from start to finish of starting the outline and hitting publish for everyone else is more stressful this time than for the second book for some reason. So I haven't had time to sit down and make videos. I will again in the future at some point. But I host sprints on here every Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern. I normally go for 2.5 hours, but when I have multiple guests, it normally becomes 3, like it is today, basically. And then I host sprints on Twitch twice a week, Tuesdays and Fridays in the morning, 9 a.m. Eastern. That might change going forward if I get a job this summer. I'm not sure. And also sometimes I just do random pop-ups on Twitch, like I'm doing one tonight at 7. As I had the banner going. And I think that's it for me. Does anyone have something they want to plug? If you read German, Anya has a book. If you don't read German, you should just, follow her so that when it comes out in English.
Yes.
Yes.
And can we talk about how beautiful the cover is?
I
I
love
love
it.
her.
Cover too.
I love it.
I
I
found
need
it.
to get the same cover with just an English title on it because
Yes.
I love that cover.
Yeah,
I
was
think you should
thinking the
change it.
same. I
It's
love it so
gorgeous.
much.
Yes, I love
I
it.
found a great cover designer, so she
Yeah.
made it. She's awesome.
Cool.
You hold on to her.
Yeah, so I will update the links in the description so that if you
Thank you.
follow Autumn on Instagram and support them on Ko-fi, you could also follow their pages for free, just to get updates. That's how it works too. You don't have to pay
Yeah.
to use that site like you do Patreon. So yes, things will be updated, and I hope to see as many of you as possible tonight on Twitch at 7 p.m. Eastern. And also have a good Memorial Day weekend. I know Memorial Day is tomorrow if you live in the U.S., and it's not today, but still, long weekend. Everyone loves one, and I'm going to say goodbye.